Good afternoon and welcome to the Wavy Digital Desk. I'm your host, Sarah Good. Today we're going to be talking about Go Red for Women Luncheon that's coming to Hampton Roads in just about 2 to 3 weeks. This is an annual event, but this year is special. We're celebrating 20 years of Go Red for Women. I'm sure you've heard about the annual campaign, and our local American Heart Association chapter does a lot of work to bring all this together. Marielena Baloris is actually going to be emceeing the event this year, and it is going to be open to the community. I'm going to bring Michelle Simmons on. She's the executive director for the Hampton Roads American Heart Association. She's going to tell us a bit about the community impact of the event and what's happening. So I'm going to bring her on now. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good. Well, I know that this is a big event that you all are focused on every year, but this year it's special. It's that 20 years of the actual campaign that's been going on nationally. But can you just tell us a little bit about, to start, the details, what's happening in a few weeks that you all are so excited about?
Sure. So we're so excited on February 2nd, which is National Wear Red Day. We're hosting one of our signature events. It is focused on women, and we are, wanting to connect with women, engage. We want to foster an atmosphere of interaction and networking. This is our 20-year celebration of the movement of Red for Women. And so since 2004, we've been addressing awareness around heart disease, which is women's greatest health threat. And we're just excited to celebrate 20 years of making an impact for women and heart disease.
Absolutely. And you talk about sort of networking and engaging. This year, a focus or a theme is Go Red, Get Connected at the luncheon.
Yeah.
How important is that to create that community of these women and men, or whoever joins, at the event?
So important. And so we want to meet the evolving needs of women now. So at every age, every stage, every season of their life. And we want to be, continue to be a trusted, relevant source for information. And so what better way to bring women together and to talk about connectedness? It's all about empowering each other. This year, we also do have a focus around maternal health. So we're going to be highly talking about the U.S. has one of the highest rates of mortality when it comes to women and maternal health. And so that's going to be also a big focus this year.
Wow. And, I know that's such a big issue, really, that's been coming up, especially the disparity between, different ethnicities and races in those sort of stats, with that
Yeah.
with that health rate. I know that you all are, trying to also raise that awareness piece. So, having those kinds of conversations, especially at a luncheon that maybe can take off into different sort of groups and areas in the community. Are there any speakers, or is there any sort of presentation on what you just talked about?
Sure. So this year we're going to highlight someone that's been through some maternal health challenges. And so we'll hear from that survivor. We're also going to have a panel around maternal health. And so that will feature some additional survivors, as well as some physicians throughout Hampton Roads, cardiologists that will talk to us about how to know what to look for, what are the risk factors, and really just some education and informative.
And that's a really important piece. I know that you all talk about, health at every age, but to be able to
Yeah.
focus on sort of, maybe, is it some misconceptions or some ideas or things that people might need to know, in that time of their
Yeah.
lives?
So true. And, this is a huge issue. And there is, no reason that in, the United States that we should be seeing rates like this of women losing their lives to have children. And so we have to address this. We have to unite. We need to feel empowered that we can start to do something about that. And it starts with education and awareness and prevention. So that's what we hope to be, is a catalyst for these numbers to change and make an impact in that area.
And, in terms of who's on your panel, are we hearing from medical professionals as well as hearing from those people that through lived experience?
Yes, correct. Both. So it will be medical professionals, cardiologists, as well as real women. So everyday women that have experienced this in their own lives to be able to talk and provide that lived experience, so to speak.
And I know that this is such a big part of the month. I guess as a whole, you know, having this sort of national campaign, is so important. But I know that you all obviously highlight different things throughout the year. But in terms
Mhm.
of focusing on this month, how important is it for people to continue to raise awareness and share those messages and sort of make the conversation bigger for this year to come? And I also want to say quickly, it's 100 years, right, of the American Heart Association. So it's a big year for you all.
Yeah, yeah, 100 years. Not many organizations can say that they've been around for 100 years. So we're very excited and proud to be celebrating that this June. But what I would say is we're asking individuals to join us for the next 100 years. And so come with us into the second century. And, that starts with kicking things off in February, where we're focused specifically on women. There are other issues that we're focused on within the community. This is just our first signature event. But for those 100 years, we want to continue to focus on vaping, which is another huge issue in the community that we're seeing. We want to continue to focus on research to make sure that continued there are gaps in research and health equity, and so we're continuing to fund that kind of work. CPR is another huge opportunity for us. We want one person in every household to be trained in hands-only CPR, and so that is something that we're very focused on. And so all of these things are what we're going to be hoping to have an impact on in the community this year.
And I know that CPR was something that, was a huge, I don't want to say search, but was a huge opportunity last year, obviously, with
Yeah,
what happened. And, I think people jumped on the chance to learn after seeing, especially with Tamar Hamlin, how important,
yeah.
that emergency training response is. And I know that here at Wavy, and I know that we work together on, on some events, but we also learn, some hands-on techniques here, and
Hmm.
then you can have the option, obviously, on your own to become certified. But how important is that for, you say, every workplace to have someone that requires awareness and education as well? But are you all seeing progress with that?
And we are seeing progress, and so we have a lofty goal that we would love to have one person in every household in Hampton Roads trained in hands-only CPR. And so we're starting with two things. We're starting with our youth because we know that when a young person learns something, they run home and tell their family members, and so we're hoping that will translate. The other thing we're focused on is what you said, and so we're looking at employers, and so our top 25 employers, those large employers that employ most of Hampton Roads, how do we make some work with them to have some annual training around hands-only CPR and AED usage? How do we help them get ADs if they don't already have those within their facilities? And so that's it's a big goal, but it's something that we think is very needed and will be so impactful for this area.
And sorry, while you were speaking, I wanted to make sure I put the link in the chat just so that people can go to the information from the event and also find out
Yeah,
more on CPR and training, because I know you all have so many resources on that website online.
yeah.
I think that's so important. And then, adding that to the focus of, especially women's health in terms of Go Red for
Hmm.
Women. We've also done stories on the signs women have, for some cardiovascular events and how different those can be for men.
Hmm.
And so, how important that knowledge and understanding is as well.
Yeah. We know that it's not always what you see necessarily on television where or you're clutching your chest and fall to the floor. It doesn't always happen for everyone. And so for women, those symptoms can be and signs can be a little different. Sometimes it could be nausea, something that feels like indigestion. You can have jaw pain, um, things that toothache, things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily think were heart attack or something wrong with your heart. But if you have pain that doesn't go away or keeps coming back, that is a sign of something more serious. And we always say it's better to go and be checked than to not and sit around. And so we want women to be aware of that. We'll be talking about that and providing some information and awareness around risk factors, warning signs of stroke and heart attack at the event as well.
And I want to just go back to the event quickly, just for some details for people that I've seen sort of join in on our conversation throughout.
Yeah.
It's going to be, as you said, on, is it National Wear Red on
National
actual,
Wear Red
yes,
Day,
on the
yeah,
day. So
February 2nd.
February 2nd, Hampton Roads Convention Center. Tickets are open this year to individuals as well. And I wanted to just ask about how important that aspect is to sort of let people on their own to be part of the conversation, to learn this information and to connect.
So important. And one thing I'll mention, you said, I'll just repeat, you said Hampton Roads Convention Center. Yes, I want to specifically note we are back on the peninsula this year. I think that's really important. We've held the last few on the south side, but we really want to make sure that we're reaching women on the peninsula side. And so we want everyone to come out. We have a huge location this year and have the ability to host many women. And so that's why we thought it was so important to make sure that everyone that wanted to attend could. And so we opened it up this year for individual ticket purchases. And so we are encouraging anyone who wants to come to please go to the website, purchase a ticket, connect with us if you have questions. We just want everyone that wants to attend to be able to this year.
Absolutely. And I feel like that must have an impact, where they take the message home, or where they take the
Yeah.
message in the community to sort of spread that even more. You say, this space obviously is a bit bigger than maybe some of the past spaces you all are in. So opening
Mhm.
those doors to women is so much, it seems, a part of that, mission for
Yeah,
awareness and connectedness.
for sure. And like we said, this year's theme is around getting connected, going red, getting connected. And so we want as many women as possible to really join this movement. Heart disease is still the number one killer of women, and it will take the life of one in every three women. And so this is a huge issue. And we want women to feel, connected, empowered, energized after they leave this event, to take ownership of their own health and to help potentially someone else.
Absolutely. And I just want to mention, if you didn't hear already, there is a link that is on Facebook. Also, if you're on wavy.com, it will be there as well during this conversation, after this conversation, to figure out how to get tickets or just find out more information about the American Heart Association and some of these, tips of what to spot and things like that. I know that you all have many resources available. I did want to ask too, the ticket cost and going, that does have an impact as well. Some of those proceeds, really, do they go right back to you all?
Correct. So this year we've opened up, like you said, to individual tickets, but we also still have our sponsors that are sponsoring different people in the community to be able to attend. What I would say is, yes, that those dollars do come back locally to the community. We are a national organization, but we have a local impact. And so right now we're funding, over $3 million in research right here at EVMS Medical School. And so we also are working with our schools around CPR training, like I mentioned, vaping and education, tobacco prevention, and so many other things. We do cooking classes, free cooking classes for the community to really focus on heart healthy meals, how to prepare those meals. We have a program around diabetes that we're focused on that connection between being a diabetic and heart disease. And so we are just trying to raise the funds to continue to do the work that we're doing in the community. And so it's so important that we reach our goal this year. And so that's what we're pushing for.
And I just changed the screen. I just want to show some people, a few minutes of some past events that we have footage of, and also some photos and video from your event last year. So those will be on screen for a few minutes here, just for people to take a look. I mean, look at that room. Even if that's a smaller group, that is a lot of women packed in the room, sharing experiences, sharing information.
Correct. And we don't want to leave out our gentlemen as well. And so we have men that want to go red. We have a whole national movement of men go red. And so we want to encourage men as well to attend. If there's a woman in your life that is important to you, please attend on her behalf and in honor of that woman. And so You are right, Sarah. This room was packed last year, but we have the capacity to double that in attendance, and that's what we want to do.
Absolutely. And you're seeing some behind the scenes. I think they're, talking about women's health as well. So, I think a big piece last year, as is every year, is making sure you are healthy, get those checkups, understand what your numbers are. I think know your numbers. I think that's been a past thing that's really important, for women. I think, thank you so much for talking about, and if you're just joining us, rewind, go back to the beginning conversation. We talked about what messages will be heard at the event, talking about that maternal health, talking about those panels, how you can connect with women at the event, share that information back to your home and your community. And now you're going to see, are these some vendors or sort of, some panelists or tables that are sort of set
Yeah,
up?
so yeah, those are great pictures. So we have a kind of expo, health expo prior to the luncheon starting. And so our sponsors are represented as well as local community organizations. We have tables set out. And so this year, we'll have some stuff around hands only CPR. We'll have some fun things that they can participate in terms of taking pictures. But really, this is just a health expo and a way again to get across information and awareness to women pre-event. And so we want people to get there early and be able to visit. We have a fun auction. It's something we call our personality auction. And so there's some fun bags that women can bid on, are provided and donated by local community members as well.
And it seems like, I mean, look at all the resources there just in the photos and so much learn. And then here's a video that you all put on your YouTube, just, reviewing or, highlighting some of the moments of the event.
Yeah, last year was so great. You can see that our theme was Be the Beat. And so again, talking about we were specifically talking about the beat, the hands only CPR, and being someone's heartbeat and really learning that as a life-saving skill. But we played on it by having lots of music at last year's event. And so we had heartbeats, but also rhythm and beats. And so we had drum line there. We had a DJ, and it was really a fun way to celebrate all the work that we've been doing in the community, but also to really spread some important information. You can
Absolutely.
see the drum line there.
Oh my gosh, look at them. Yeah, that's great. And I mean, I think you talk about the community impact to have all of these groups and organizations present and to be able to sort of connect. That's, such living by example, in your mission. And is that people, is that they're rocking out right there with some lights and different things. But no, that's great. And I think, for anyone that wants to go, again, it is open to all. The information is on Facebook and wavy.com right now. I mean, is there anything else that you want to sort of add about this year? I think the one thing I do want to say is obviously February is when it is American Heart Month, but we wanted to get the message out and have this conversation ahead of time so people have the opportunity to get tickets if they'd like, to find out more information and just be up to date on what's coming down the line for you all.
Thank you so much. And you guys have been a great carrier of this message around women and heart disease. So we appreciate that. And I would just say, two things. One is, we don't do this alone. And as you saw in that health expo, you see all the different organizations that come alongside of us. We don't work in a silo. And so we need organizations to help us. And so we're so excited about all of our partners this year that have come alongside of us that really want to be champions of heart disease. The other thing I think that, we talked about the getting connected. And one thing I would say is sometimes as a woman, from day to day, you have so much that on your shoulders that you can feel like, what is it that I can do today to take steps to prevent heart disease? And so that's what we want people to feel empowered about as well. It's not these difficult things that you need to do. There are easy steps and things you can start doing today. And so we want to start having those conversations instead of sometimes the doom and gloom of, oh my goodness, this is so much. I can't even get started. And start to have those conversations around here is something I can do today to start to improve and start to prevent this. And that's really what we want also people to leave with. That this is doable and we can feel empowered that we have the power to do it.
Well, I don't want to take anything away from what you just said. We know how many people this impacts in our community, from viewers to our neighbors to, our
Yeah.
loved ones and family. So, thank you for all you do. And what a great opportunity and sort of message for people to look forward and see how we can help and how we can help those women and men in our community that are affected by, cardiovascular disease. So thank you so much for spending the afternoon with us here. This also will be available, as I said, on wavy.com afterwards, with an article and information from our conversation, as well as the conversation, so people can go back and hear all about this year's event. Well, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.